Hey, this is Tony with Gumption Entertainment, and I have a real special treat for you. This is my first ever video blog that I'm putting up, and today what I want to talk to you about is meditation and proper breathing techniques. When I was home this last summer, I met this really cool guy who was just very present and open-minded, and he could tell that I was interested in a lot of what he had to say. So he just pretty much drew me in, thanks to a lot of attraction, and kind of gave me some examples on proper meditation and breathing techniques. And I want to share that with you today. I don't want to mess up your name again, so I'm just going to let you introduce yourself.
Thanks, Tony. My name is Dekamiva. Essentially, what I do is I meet and engage people on an intellectual and spiritual basis. And essentially, I teach people how to raise their baseline level of consciousness through specific techniques such as body asleep, mind awake. Right now, your consciousness is being inhibited by your preconceived cultural notions. I would say 95% of the people in this country self-limit themselves because they believe that their potential is not what it actually is. What I'm doing is essentially teaching people how to control their own thoughts. And you have to understand that your thoughts are not you. Thoughts are tools of expression of consciousness. And what you are is a self-aware energy field, the energy body, the astral body. And there are certain practical techniques that you can do that will greatly enhance your way of life. Doing essentially, if you do a Kundalini, and Kundalini is the life energy that spirals up your spine when you practice specific techniques. And when you have Kundalini rising, essentially you tap into what's called the Akasha record. And the Akasha record is a database of all knowledge, past, present, and future. I had my first Kundalini rising when I was 16. I didn't recognize it for what it was at the time. I know that I've always been a little bit more aware than my friends in, say, high school. I was watching a movie, and I was observing the beautiful scenery, and I wish I could have been there. And so I envisioned myself flying through the scenery, and all of a sudden I felt this massive wave of energy rise up my spine, and it caused me, I was in a sitting position, and it caused me to fly backwards. My back hit the ground. I didn't move or anything, my back hit the ground. And my consciousness left my body very quickly, I might add. And my consciousness was able to perceive the entirety of the planet. I saw the beautiful blue aura around the planet. And I had a desire that came about to see the entirety of the planet. And instead of going around to the back side of the planet, the part that I couldn't perceive, my consciousness actually spread to encompass and engulf the entire planet. And I could perceive in all directions simultaneously. And then my consciousness merged with the consciousness of the planet, and I felt every living thing individually. And I noticed that one thing that was really interesting was that all the negativity that we see, all the bad things, the pollution, the corruption, and the self-serving behavior that's not our nature, essentially is a very small drop in the bucket. It's completely engulfed by the amount of love and exuberance that exists in all living things. Everything now to me exists in a state of ecstatic being, and everything, I can feel the joy in a rock sitting there just being itself, and it just makes me laugh. When I focus my conscious energy on things, I can feel their joy and their bliss and happiness. So when I was essentially after that, I started doing a lot of research in metaphysics, meditation, and other philosophy. And I've researched an incredible amount. Everything that I teach, everything that I've experienced comes from my own personal experience. I don't teach something that I've heard or read about. I only teach what I know to be true and what I've experienced myself. And that is actually called the path of the masters. The only truth is self-revealed truth. So also that night when I had my first Kundalini experience, my consciousness actually kept growing. It kept expanding beyond that planetary consciousness till it engulfs the entire solar system. And then my focus went to our star, and my consciousness merged with our sun. And essentially I felt like what it was like to be the sun. And it was the most glorious and amazing experience of my entire life. After that, it's just kept growing and getting bigger to the point where I really couldn't recognize the difference between myself and everything around me. And from my research, I understand this to actually be Atman consciousness, which is the individuated God consciousness of your higher self or your soul or whatever philosophy. It's all practical. And it was shown to me specifically that love is literally the purpose of all existence. Simply put, without it, there would be no driving force for self-aware consciousness. Without that ineffable quality, there would be no purpose. It literally is purpose. Without it, think about being self-aware without the feeling of love in whatever gradient or level that you'd like. And you would essentially you'd be an unemotional robot, and there would be no driving mechanism. So at its core, the universe is a self-aware entity on all levels, and without love, there would be no driving force, no mechanism. So it literally is. The universe is constantly seeking to create beauty for a self-aware awareness. Unity, harmony, taking two poles, two divergent energies, bringing them together and making them more than the sum of both. That's the secret of the universe, I guess you could say, and that functions as a torus field on all levels. So essentially, I go out to shows, events. I'm a DJ, producer. I bring people in the door. There is quite a bit of highly conscious people. I don't know if it's because people incarnating into this plane of existence that have a propensity to enjoy that type of music already have a higher level of awareness, but I've made it my goal to engage as many people that are interested in this as I can. And so I go up to people like Tony and I ask them what their beliefs are, what they've experienced, and quite a few people have told me stories about having out-of-body experiences, doing a little bit of meditation, but not really being able to get it or stay focused. Well, if you think of your mind, not your brain, most people think about their brain as their mind, and that's false. You are a self-aware, non-physical consciousness, and you're non-local, which means that you can actually perceive anywhere. This is called remote viewing, astral projection, bilocation. There's lots of different words for it in lots of different cultures and lots of different teachings. But if you practice a simple technique, you can amplify your baseline level of consciousness exponentially. And that technique is energy body development. Essentially what you do is you hold your point of awareness outside of your body, and that causes a large amount of chi to cultivate and accumulate in that area. And when you first begin able to feel chi or ki or prana or ogon, there's all different words for it, you'll feel like a heat cold sensation, a slight buzzing, and then you'll feel a pressure and like a little flutter. Essentially what you want to do is you want to hold your point of awareness at a specific part of your body until you feel this. And it's much, much easier for you to feel this energy when you master the mind awake body sleep technique, which is a very, very deep relaxed state. Holding your mind awake, keeping your mind focused. And also, in order to do that, there's the fourfold breath work, which is what I'm going to teach Tony today as an introduction.
be present in view. So, yeah, start.
Okay, so essentially the fourfold breath is you hold your mind on a shape or a color or a concept, and then you focus on that, and you try to not let any other thoughts come into your mind. And what really aids this is what you do is you exhale completely for 4 seconds. So, and then after you exhale, when all the air is out of your lungs, you hold that exhalation for 4 seconds. And then you follow it by breathing in for 4 seconds. And then you hold that breath for 4 seconds. And I would say do that at least 10 times. And you'll notice when you do that, that your state of mind becomes much more clear. You'll notice that things seem a little brighter, a little louder, a little more vibrant. And this is actually causing you to go into a mind awake, body asleep state. And that state is much more conductive for moving, cultivating your energy through your meridians. They're also called nadis in the Hindu culture, but they're real, and you can experience them subjectively. And so do that 10 times, and then you would essentially want to start putting your sense of isness, your awareness, at a specific part of your body, say your big toe or your fingertip. And then you put your sense of where you are. Like you, right now you feel like you're in this body. You feel like you're operating through these eyes and using this mouth. And you're so used to it, you don't even notice it. But that can be manipulated and shifted. And so you put your sense of where you are at a specific point that you want to feel chi at. So now I started with my big toe, and it only took me about 10 minutes to start feeling a little pulse, a little ripple. And when you feel that, focus on it. It'll kind of feel like someone's scratching your hand like this. And then it'll amplify, it'll increase. It'll feel like wherever you're doing this, it'll feel like a heavy pressure is on that area. And you'll feel a tickling, tingling, hot, cold sensation. And eventually, that area will go numb, and you won't feel it physically. What that actually is your astral body separating from that area because you're pushing so much energy through it. When you're operating normally through your body, it takes a tremendous amount of energy to keep your energy body field localized through your body. And so it's much harder to move chi through your meridians and stimulate your 7 chakras and raise kundalini if your physical body is active. That's why you want to practice the mind awake, body asleep technique initially. There's also a very powerful technique that anybody can learn when they become familiar with energy, which will be, it's called Dandine energy storage. You have 3 Dandines. You have one that's about an inch below your navel. You have one that's right in your heart area right here. And then you have one that's in your third eye area. And each one is specific to a type of energy. And it's a non-physical energetic storage pocket, you could say. A reservoir for your physical body, your mental body, and your emotional body. And what you do is do a 10 count 4-fold breath, and then focus about an inch below your belly button, your navel, and then breathe in to it. And don't think about how to do it, because in your natural energetic state, the techniques that I'm teaching come naturally, and you know all of them. in through your first dandine, and at first you'll feel a little prickle. You'll feel and then you'll feel a pressure, and then you'll feel like this fulfilled sensation. You'll feel like something is filling up, and you'll know when it's totally full. You'll feel a flutter inside your belly. You'll feel like, I don't know, it feels kind of like there's a butterfly, not like a butterfly in your stomach, but down there lower. And then once you feel that, you should have a nice full sensation. And to get that, essentially, you breathe and envision energy coming into it. And don't think about how to do it. Like I said, just try. Just do it and believe you can. And that's key. The nature of your divinity is that your will is paramount. The universe will coalesce into conformity with your will. I should say harmony. And if you believe something and you believe it, it'll be a possibility. If you don't believe it, it won't be a possibility, because you won't allow yourself to experience anything that you don't believe fundamentally, because that's the nature of your divinity in and of itself. I also want to address when I came back from my first Kundalini rising. My friend was sitting next to me, and I had such expanded consciousness that it was unbelievable. I could perceive in the entire house. I could feel everything that was going on, and I had this connection to what's called the Akasha record. Like I said, it's a collection of data, past, present, and future. And I literally had the ability to access all information, and I was just babbling incoherently to my friend, and I'm like, ask me anything. And he was like, he just started asking me questions about random stuff. And not only could I explain everything to a T, but I could also temper and level my explanation to whatever it would be the easiest to be perceived by whoever I was talking to. So, it came fluidly, instantly, and naturally. And I still have a large amount of that consciousness with me. It never left. I was not at that state for more than, I would say, a day, but I was at a higher state ever since, and it caused me to operate at a higher state. And so essentially my goal is to elevate as many people as I can up to their highest level, up to their full potential. And I want to eliminate self-limiting thought patterns and cycles in people by getting them to recognize that they're causing themselves to suffer because of whatever social programming, destructive relationships. If you feel and believe that you can't do something, you won't do it. And if you actively mock another person or you're envious of them, you're actually subconsciously reinforcing your own belief that you can't do that as well, because you're reinforcing that you're not good enough to yourself. But everybody's good enough for anything they put their mind to. Everybody has the same potential, and everybody has that unlimited potential. Essentially, Kundalini is taught by Eastern mystics. There's also a lot of groups around America that teach it. A lot of people have said it's dangerous. And I guess to somebody that is unfamiliar with higher states of consciousness, then it would definitely be a danger to their ego and their sense of identity. Because if you think you're the center of the world, and then it turns out that there is no you, that we are all one at a fundamental level. Imagine consciousness in space like a field where everybody can think simultaneously, yet change their own individual energy. That's essentially what higher states of consciousness are like. And in order to be able to leave your body and go to a higher plane of existence, you need to first master your own thoughts, and you have to master your own inner nature, because the inner nature, and what I mean by that is whatever comes to mind uncontrolled. Your baseline emotional state, energy state, is somebody more negative or pessimistic, or someone more positive and optimistic. If your thoughts would create out in front of you and be experienced by everybody around you, could you handle it? And so until a person can master their own inner nature, they're essentially not allowed to be conscious on the higher planes. And that's one of the reasons why we're here on the earth plane, experiencing and learning is responsibility for our own thoughts, because our thoughts affect everybody. And that actually applies on an everyday level. People are constantly broadcasting what they think about themselves, who they are, what they do. And that energy is picked up consciously or subconsciously by everybody around them. That's why a lot of people create those negative cycles for themselves, is because they're just reinforcing it. If you feel you're a victim, if you feel your health is ill, if you feel like everybody's out to get you, or you feel that you can't do anything, people are going to reinforce that to you. They will pick up on that and they will reinforce that. And until you stop and recognize the cycle, break it, and start a new cycle, then you're going to just continue to experience that, and you have nobody to blame but yourself. So I know from my own personal experience that we are not our physical bodies. I know that I'm a self-aware consciousness currently inhabiting this physical body. My consciousness may be a bit more elevated than most, but that doesn't make me special or anybody else special. That may be in a higher level, because we're all on the same path, awakening, you could say. But it is really important to learn that the nature of your thoughts will affect your baseline emotional state as well. If you have a lot of pessimistic, negative thoughts, that you will feel that. You'll feel negative, and miserable all the time. And if you just appreciate everything for how it is, don't want or need, and just let be, you'll feel amazing. You'll feel optimistic. And essentially my organization that I created, the Arc of Radiant and Vibrant Entities, is a hub for people that are unique, that hold art, dance, music to be sacred. It is a gathering of exuberant people. They're radiant and vibrant. It is a spiritual religious organization, and we're applying for 501(c) status right now. We're located on a private island. We're actively building, and we're going to be doing private events on this island. The proceeds will actually be going to building the self-sufficient community. And everybody that comes on this island, we want them to experience high level of consciousness just by coming into our field, because everything, inanimate or adamant, has a what's called a morphogenic field. Rupert Sheldrake would actually, if you read some of his books, he gets really deep into that. And when you tap into this non-physical energy field, you perceive all the thoughts and feelings, whether small or large, of that object and all the people associated with it. So when you have a holy book, whether it be Bible, the Quran, the Torah, you're actually tapping into a field of energy that will cause you, if you don't know about it, to tap into it. Now, depending on how much power and belief and how many people have put their energy into it, it'll be stronger or weaker accordingly. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a field of conscious elevating energy on this island, and then we want to spread that as far as we can. And people don't know that when they tap into these energy fields, they affect their mind, they affect their beliefs, they affect their thoughts, and they don't know it. And there is certain types of music that are beneficial for raising spiritual consciousness. It has to be harmonious. It can't be jarring or angry or narcissistic or egotistical. These are not harmonious with raising and elevating a person's consciousness. So our events will be specifically catered to uplifting, energizing music. And we do have an organization that is going to be for all types of music, but events sponsored by the ARC will not be. It'll be specifically for, like I said. So, and we're going to be doing meditation workshops. We're currently seeking donations. There's a crowdfunding campaign that was just started today. GoFundMe. And then look A.R.A.V.E. And that stands for the Arc Radiant and Vibrant Entities. So yeah, we got a lot going on, and anybody that wants to help build or donate, it would be great. If you stand for our cause, please go to our website. That would be Dekamiva, Dekamiva .wixsite, wixsite.com/ARVE.
Great.